Hello and welcome to the EzyRoulette tutorial. In the previous video, we have imported the wheel data from a JSON file into our MongoDB database, and today I'll show you how to handle the spin request on the ezyfox server. And without further ado, let's get started. Alright, let's start by creating a request controller in the controller package. Name it game request controller. This class will handle all the requests sent from our Unity client. Let's add the EzyRequest controller annotation, and let's define a method public void spin with the argument EzyUser. Let's add the EzyDoHandler with the spinned command. And from here, I can extract the result from the wheel service. Call to the spin method. And let's define the wheel service here. Because it is a singleton service, so we can use the EzyAutoBind to automatically initialize the values for it. Okay, from here, we need to create the spin method in the wheel service class. And let's discuss our random generator for a second. So basically, that is how our wheel looks like. And to generate a random fragment ID, we first define a max value equal to 1,000,000, and then we generate a random value in the range from 0 to our max value. And if that random value lies in this range, this is the third range, so we will return the corresponding fragment ID, which is 3 in this example. Very simple, and let's implement it in our code. Okay, let's define some fields first. So let's define the wheel list of wheel fragments, namely empty fragment. This will be used later. Import class java.util and a list of integer, which is the random ranges, and another one will be the objects log. So this will be used to log our wheel because our wheel is used by multiple users. I need to initialize the value for the empty fragments and the random ranges first. Empty fragments equal to wheel.getFragments.stream. I'll use the stream API from Java 8. Filter those who has the price type equal to wheel price type.empty and convert it to a list. And I also define a local variable, which is an atomic integer. I'll call it upper bound with the initial values of 0. And let's initialize the random ranges by using the stream API as well. But this time we use the map. Those item last upper bound, add and get something here. Okay, I need to cast this to integer with the item that get ratio divided by 100% and then time with the max value. Okay, I need to define the max value, which is an integer 1,000,000. Okay, good. And I need to convert this one to a list as well. Alright, we are now ready to use the empty fragments and the random ranges in our spin method. First, we need to calculate a random fragment index and then return it. And get random fragment index. Let's define this method. As in our discussion before, we first need to generate a random value from thread local random dot current dot max integer max value, and let's define the initialize the answer as -1, and we need to loop through all the ranges and then return the index of the first one that contains the random value. Okay, and let's get the upper bound of the current range, and if the random values is less or equal than the current upper bound, we set the random index to the current index and then call to break the loop. And if the random index is -1, which means no range contains the random values, I'll return a random empty index, which means an index of a fragment that contains the empty price. And let's create this one. Okay, for this one, let's extract the empty. Let's generate a empty index, which is the local next integer, and call to the empty fragment size, and simply return the empty fragments that get empty index that get index. Okay, it's just that simple, and here we can return our random index. Alright, I have successfully get a random fragment index, and from here I can lock the wheel, and then I can refer to the current fragment, which is the wheel that get fragment that get random index. Okay, maybe I'll rename this one to random fragment index. Okay, and if the fragment that get price type equals the price type dot empty, which means the quantity is equal to 0, so we don't need to decrease the quantity. And we can simply return the random fragment index. Otherwise, if the quantity is greater than 0, we need to calculate the remained quantity by simply calling the remain quantity equal to the fragment that get quantity -1, and then simply set the quantity to our remain quantity. And don't forget to update our database by calling the wheel repo.save wheel, and then return the random fragment index. So if the quantity is equal to 0, we can basically return a random empty index. And let's go back to our controller. From here, I'll extend the EzyLockable so that I can call to the locker, and I will lock user spin and the price result equal to this user.getName and the result. Okay, and I also need to send a response back to my user. The response factory, let's define it. Easy response factory, and I use the autobyte response factory that new objects respond that command, same command, which is spin. I'm hard coding the command for simplicity, but I would recommend you to create a constant class. Okay, with the parameter result and the value result, and send to the user, and then execute. Looking good. I think we are ready to test our spin controller here. Okay, let's run our server. And then, so you can look at our database, the wheel collection. We have 1000 key, 1000 star, 1000 star, 0 empty, 0 star, 0 star, and so on. Okay, and let's run our client. Let's log in with the username and password, and then if I send the spin request by click spin and win, you can see here user test spin and get the prize result 7. The 7th fragment is empty fragment, so we don't need to decrease the quantity, and let's test it for a couple more times. And you can see here we have a prize result of 0, for example. We have 1,000 key corresponding to the index of 0. Let's refresh our database. You can see it decreased to 999, and that's what our expected behavior. And I think that's all I want to show you today. In the next video, I'll show you how to handle the responses from our server in our Unity client. And see you next time. Cheers!